เช็คแฮนด์เทลเบอร์หนึ่งนะคะเช็ค
In recent decades, the Asia-Pacific region has made great strides in reducing extreme poverty thanks to vibrant trade and investment. Income and opportunities have risen, driven by innovation and commitment, and women are helping to power this growth. Yet gaps remain on gender equality both in work and in society. The East Asian Pacific region has closed 2/3 of its economic gender gap so far. But to fully close the gap, it could take another 100 years. Closing gender gaps in work and society would add up to $4.5 trillion to the region. To accelerate this timeline, UN Women and the European Union launched WeEmpowerAsia to catalyze business action towards gender equality and increase women's full and equal economic participation. In China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, we work with companies, investors, workers, policymakers, civil society, and a wide range of stakeholders, focusing on 3 areas. First, we create an enabling business environment for women. Second, we promote women-owned businesses and gender-inclusive entrepreneurship. And third, we advance gender-inclusive business cultures through the Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs. The WEPs are 7 principles that guide companies to promote gender-equal corporate leadership, inclusive and safe workplaces, equal pay for work of equal value, gender-responsive supply chain, marketing and community advocacy practices, and transparency and accountability of business at large. As we strive to build a more inclusive future for all, join us, along with thousands of business leaders around the world, who are now driving progress for women, turning their promises into reality, because gender equality is more than just a moral responsibility. It's also great for business.
As we embark on the next decade of the Women's Empowerment Principles, or so-called WEPs, we are celebrating this milestone by honoring business action to empower women in the Asia Pacific.
For those who have been making continuous effort, this is the time to showcase your progress and achievements and to champion for sector-wide change.
2020, marking the anniversaries of the Women Empowerment Principles and the Beijing Platform for Action, is an important milestone for driving corporate action on women's equality and inclusion. We now not only have the momentum, but also the power to take our actions to the next level.
Harvard is honored to partner with the UN Women Asia Pacific Office in hosting the first UN Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. Highlighting outstanding contributions towards gender equality is vital, because success inspires success, and equality is a strategic key to continued growth and stability in our region.
As CEOs, directors, and leaders of industry, many of you have developed and strengthened gender-inclusive practices, programs, and actions. These inspiring examples need to be showcased, appreciated, and multiplied for wider impact.
All stakeholders, including decision makers, companies, and civil society, must work together and do their part to better support women as business leaders and in the workplace. As we gradually recover from economic crisis, we must build back better.
Signing the WEPs, one of the largest public-private sector efforts for gender equality, is just the first step. Now it's time to fast-track your SDG5 impact. Share your best practices, share your actions, get visible, and inspire others.
If your organization is an organization that is committed to gender equality, promotes the rights of women, and if your CEO or director is heard or seen promoting gender equality, enabling working conditions for women, issues like equal pay for equal work, then it's time that you're acknowledged for it.
Join the ranks of our exceptional corporate leaders making gender-inclusive business a reality.
All companies who are champions of women's empowerment, regardless of size and sector, apply for the UN Women Asia Pacific Women's Empowerment Principle Awards.
So don't delay and apply for UN Women's WEPs Awards in the Asia Pacific.
The European Union is proud to partner with UN Women for the Women's Empowerment Principles Awards. These awards are an opportunity to showcase corporate action on gender equality. Your actions speak louder than words. We encourage you to seize this moment and show how your company, your workplace makes a difference. We count on you.
Tôi là Nguyễn Thị Tuyết Minh, Chủ tịch Hội đồng Doanh nhân nữ Việt Nam. Trước hết là thay mặt cho WeEx và AON, chúng tôi rất là tự hào được đồng hành với UN Women trong dự án WeEmpowerAsia tại Việt Nam và một số nước ASEAN. Giải thưởng WEP là một trong những cái công cụ để hướng dẫn cho cộng đồng doanh nghiệp cái cách để tạo cơ hội về việc làm, về cống hiến và về hưởng lợi cho phụ nữ và nam giới như nhau để hướng tới sự phát triển bền vững và thịnh vượng của mỗi doanh nghiệp. Chúng tôi rất là mong muốn tất cả các doanh nghiệp sẽ tham gia và các bạn sẽ được kết nối với các cái doanh nghiệp nổi tiếng trên thế giới cũng như là được nâng cao cái danh tiếng của doanh nghiệp mình. Chúc các bạn thành công.
I'm the current chairperson of the Philippine Women's Economic Network, or PhilWen, a consortium of 6 women's organizations advocating for the economic empowerment of women in the Philippines. As chair of PhilWen, I have the privilege of engaging business leaders and CEOs who are committed to pursue gender equality, diversity, and inclusion advocacies. PhilWen strongly supports the Women's Economic Principles, or WEPs Awards, through the EU-funded WeEmpowerAsia Programme of the UN Women Asia Pacific. We encourage like-minded organizations and companies to take part in this timely initiative by proudly nominating your leaders for their WEPs Award. Take advantage of this opportunity to give recognition to those who have taken the bold steps of embracing the WEPs principles in their organizations, so that they may serve as inspirations and role models to others. The time is right for change. This is my challenge for all companies. Empowering women will lead to empowered businesses.
I'm the Executive Director of the Keenan Foundation Asia, a leading regional nonprofit organization based in Bangkok, Thailand. Keenan believes in a world where everyone has the right for a better future for themselves, their family, and their communities. Every day, we are working in Thailand and the region to empower women for a better future. As the implementing partner for WeEmpowerAsia Thailand, Keenan strongly supports Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs, awards, through the EU-funded WeEmpowerAsia Programme of UN Women Asia Pacific. These awards recognize business leaders for their exceptional championship of gender equality and support for women's empowerment principles. We urge all companies, regardless of size and sector, to apply today and to play an active role in catalyzing business action for women's full and equal economic participation. Now is the time to fast-track your SDG 5 agenda, champion best practices, and inspire more corporate leaders to make an impact. Please visit AsiaPacificWEPsAward.org for more information.
UN Women launches the first Asia Pacific WEPs Awards to recognize leaders and honor businesses for their exemplary practice in embracing the women's empowerment principles. There are 6 categories: 2 to recognize individuals and 4 to honor the efforts of businesses in advancing women empowerment and gender equality in the Asia Pacific region. Award Category 1. This is to recognize leaders over 30. They can be CEO, founders, and leaders who have set strong corporate commitments inclusive of progressive policies, regulations, or practices that aim to promote gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, or the community. Promoting gender equality within the company. Public commitments or delivering gender-sensitive messages to the public. Award Category 2. This is to recognize individuals under 30. Young entrepreneurs who initiate gender-responsive policies or actions in their company. Young leaders of startups or young employees who actively promote gender equality within their organization. Award Category 3 is for a gender-inclusive workplace. This award recognizes the achievements of companies that have demonstrated in adopting relevant gender-inclusive measures in the workplace. Equal recruitment and equal pay for all genders. Flexible work arrangements for parents and caregivers. Support equal sharing of family responsibilities between male and female employees. Guarantee the safety and well-being of female and male employees. Promote women's career development and leadership. Award Category 4 is for gender-responsive marketplace. This award recognizes companies for embracing a gender lens throughout their value chains from sourcing to disposal. Supplier diversity, gender-inclusive distribution and selling, gender-responsive marketing and advertising, supporting women entrepreneurs through capacity development or market access opportunities, progressive programs and/or policies to incentivize procurement from women-owned businesses. Award Category 5 is for community and industry engagement. This award recognizes corporate champions that promote gender equality through community and industry engagement, integrating gender equality into their sustainability strategies, CSR, or philanthropy programs, supporting and collaborating with NGOs, international organizations, or other organizations committed to promoting gender equality, participating in any advocacy or multi-stakeholder platforms to promote gender equality, transformational action or systemic change within the company's respective industry. Award Category 6 is for COVID-19 action. This award recognizes companies or leaders which have made significant contributions to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in the context of COVID-19, adopting gender-sensitive responses to COVID-19 to support female and male employees, supporting women-owned small and medium-sized enterprises, supporting women and girls in the community, raising awareness of women's needs during the pandemic, encouraging women's leadership and participation in fighting COVID-19.
In recent decades, the Asia-Pacific region has made great strides in reducing extreme poverty thanks to vibrant trade and investment. Income and opportunities have risen, driven by innovation and commitment, and women are helping to power this growth. Yet gaps remain on gender equality both in work and in society. The East Asian Pacific region has closed 2/3 of its economic gender gap so far. But to fully close the gap, it could take another 100 years. Closing gender gaps in work and society would add up to $4.5 trillion to the region. To accelerate this timeline, UN Women and the European Union launched WeEmpowerAsia to catalyze business action towards gender equality and increase women's full and equal economic participation.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to this UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. We would kindly request for all of you to kindly take your seats as we will officially begin our event in about 5 minutes' time. Once again, thank you very much for joining us for this UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. An exciting occasion indeed, inviting you all to kindly take your seats as we will commence in about 5 minutes' time. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation.
Inclusive and safe workplaces, equal pay for work of equal value, gender-responsive supply chain, marketing and community advocacy practices, and transparency and accountability of business at large. As we strive to build a more inclusive future for all, join us along with thousands of business leaders around the world who are now driving progress for women, turning their promises into reality, because gender equality is more than just a moral responsibility. It's also great for business.
As we embark on the next decade of the Women's Empowerment Principles, or so-called WEPs, we are celebrating this milestone by honoring business action to empower women in the Asia Pacific.
For those who have been making continuous effort, this is the time to showcase your progress and achievements and to champion for sector-wide change.
2020, marking the anniversaries of the Women Empowerment Principles and the Beijing Platform for Action, is an important milestone for driving corporate action on women's equality and inclusion. We now not only have the momentum, but also the power to take our actions to the next level.
AWEN is honored to partner with the UN Women Asia Pacific Office in hosting the first UN Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. Highlighting outstanding contributions towards gender equality is vital, because success inspires success, and equality is a strategic key to continue growth and stability in our region.
As CEOs, directors, and leaders of industry, many of you have developed and strengthened gender-inclusive practices, programs, and actions. These inspiring examples need to be showcased, appreciated, and multiplied for wider impact.
All stakeholders, including decision makers, companies, and civil society, must work together and do their part to better support women as business leaders and in the workplace. As we gradually recover from economic crisis, we must build back better.
Signing the WEPs, one of the largest public-private sector efforts for gender equality, is just the first step. Now it's time to fast-track your SDG5 impact. Share your best practices, share your actions, get visible, and inspire others.
If your organization is an organization that is committed to gender equality, promotes the rights of women, and if your CEO or director is heard or seen promoting gender equality, enabling working conditions for women, issues like equal pay for equal work, then it's time that you're acknowledged for it.
Join the ranks of our exceptional corporate leaders making gender-inclusive business a reality.
All companies who are champions of women's empowerment, regardless of size and sector, apply for the UN Women Asia Pacific Women's Empowerment Principle Awards.
So don't delay and apply for UN Women's WEPs Awards in the Asia Pacific.
Sawadee ka, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, members of the press from Channel 7's Burin's Journey, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to this exciting event, a warm welcome to this UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. My name is Pachari Raksawong, very delighted and very honored indeed to be here as your Master of Ceremonies for this very prestigious awards event. Now we're gathered here on site as well as online to celebrate 10 years of the Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs. And this is the first ever Asia Pacific Awards initiative recognizing private sector practice embracing the WEPs. I'm very pleased to inform you that more than 400 applications from 255 companies were received from 17 countries in the Asia Pacific. And today we are excited to be recognizing 6 categories, namely leadership, commitment and action, youth leadership, gender-inclusive workplace, gender-responsive marketplace, community and industry engagement, and COVID-19 action. In our final culminating event today, we reveal the region's business champions for gender equality. And this is our very first hybrid event, and we have presenters and awardees who will be connecting virtually from around the globe. We have 60 guests joining us here in person at the awards venue in Bangkok, and we also have 300 guests joining us online via Facebook. Now, we would like to encourage all of you to participate by tweeting and posting on Facebook as well as Instagram using the hashtags WeEmpowerAsia and the hashtag WEPs Awards, and also joining us to show your support for a true generation equality by taking a selfie in our virtual photo booth. You can access that by scanning the QR code, which will appear on the big screen. There you go. Do scan that and take part in that virtual photo booth, and do post it online. Don't forget the hashtags, and that is WeEmpowerAsia and WEPs Awards. And now, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to officially start things off for today, the welcoming remarks, and to also introduce the UN Women Programme behind the WEPs Awards, I would like to invite to the stage Ms. Katia Freiwald, UN Women Regional Programme Manager, WeEmpowerAsia. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause welcoming her to the stage. Ms. Katia Freiwald.
A very warm welcome from my behalf, but also on behalf of UN Women, Your Excellencies, and a very warm welcome, even so I can't see you with the light here, Ambassador to the EU Ambassador to Thailand, Mr. Burkhard Tapiola. Thank you for joining us here and being with us on this journey. Chief executives, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, collaborators, supporters, we are really happy to have you here. And I have to say, I'm really proud and also really excited to stand here, because this is a journey which started in the beginning of this year, around May time, where we really have gathered different organizations and people to join us and really got the idea on launching the first ever WEPs Awards. While we would have loved to have more of the supporters and everyone here in the room in Bangkok, in the spirit of the new reality, we have turned this into a hybrid event, and I think we've probably more viewers and participants that we would have had here in Bangkok with us tonight, or during the day, wherever you are actually. So we really want to make sure that this is not only an event for the audience here in Bangkok, but really that this is an event where everyone participates. And I think by now we are all very savvy in technology, so I would love everyone in the room, but also our audience online, please get out your mobiles, get connected to menti.com. I'm sure everyone has done this by now. While you are doing this, please, the code is on the screen. If you are not connected, menti.com, the code is 2933493. And I think for our virtual audience, this is also put in the chat. We have 3 questions that we would like to ask you. It's a little bit of a mini speed dating here. And we're going to want to know from you, from where are you joining us today? What sector are you joining us from? Are you from business, governments, CSOs, etc.? And then the fun part at the end, this is an award for businesses, and this is an award for gender equality. So in your 3rd question, you will have the opportunity to give us what's on your mind, 3 words when you think about business engagement and gender equality. So we're going to open the polls. I think it's going to take a bit. You will be able to see all 3 questions at the same time. Go one by one, you can answer them. Oh, I think you see more. There's a big pool, obviously, here in Southeast Asia. That's probably our Bangkok audience here. So there are a couple of participants also from Europe. We see we're getting there. South Asia, our colleagues from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Some new geographies not on the map here. I think while this is building up and we will know for afterwards, it would be great to see from where are the different people joining us in terms of sectors. So obviously there are lots of businesses here, multinational companies, but also SMEs. Good representation also from our civil society partners. I think not too surprised that there is a primary audience of businesses. This is a business award. Wow, that looks great. Empowerment, equality, diversity, inclusivity, opportunity. I think while this is building up really, really nicely, I think it's a testimonial to the audience that we do have today, and lots of them are supporters and believers in gender equality. And I think the audience just looking at this is really embodying what UN Women's campaign or movement, Generation Equality, actually stands for. Generation Equality is a movement that we initiated with multiple partners, which many of you are here today, a movement for everyone, no matter from their gender, where they come from, what race. Like, just gonna add on, no matter from what sector, it's a movement to really create equal rights and equal opportunities for every woman and every girl. And within this movement, I think we can move on this, but I think we will share this obviously afterwards with you. I think it's a great way to see what's on people's minds. One way to really work on generation equality and really achieve a generation equality. We have one way of doing this, or one way we want to share today, is our program WeEmpowerAsia, is a way on multiple stakeholders to get involved, particularly to drive gender equality in the world of business. WeEmpowerAsia is a program jointly done between UN Women and the European Union in partnership in 7 countries in Asia and the Pacific. So the 7 countries in which the program is present in is a big ASEAN representation with Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. And then we also have the program very strongly representative in China and in India. And the program ultimately, if I want to summarize this in one sentence, is really helping to get more women to lead and participate in the economy. And obviously leading and participating in the economy, one way to do this are the women's empowerment principles. And I think by today, for everyone who's joining here, knows the women's empowerment principles. But let me just kind of recall everyone here, what are the women's empowerment principles? Co-created 10 years ago, as we've heard, we are celebrating also the anniversary of the Women's Empowerment Principles. It's a set of 7 principles which really enables companies across their value chains to look really on how to embrace a gender lens into their full business, starting from their leadership, looking at their workplaces, diving deeper into their value chains, and really looking at how to engage with communities and their wider industry to really change and really create a more gender-inclusive business world for everyone. These 7 principles have been also the inspiration behind the WEPs Awards. So we've been looking what categories do we want to award companies for. And we have heard already what are the 6 categories. But my task, and maybe that's not the most exciting one, but what I'm going to do is going to give you a little bit of technical background as well, because we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page for what we award in companies and how we award companies. So the 6 categories, let me share with you. We're going to award companies for their leadership. This category recognizes leaders who are making strong corporate commitments, including also public commitments to gender equality in their organizations. Youth leadership, category 2. This is for leaders below the age of 30, founders, directors, entrepreneurs, anyone under the age of 30 who is working to create a more gender equal workplace, marketplace, or community. Category number 3, gender inclusive workplaces. This category recognizes companies that have adopted gender inclusive workplace measures, reaching from equal recruitment, equal pay initiatives, flexible working arrangements, but also promoting women's career development and leadership. Category 4, we're getting there, and the examples will be more exciting than my reading here. Gender responsive marketplace. This category goes really deeper into the value chain, supply chain of companies, looking at, for example, things like gender responsive procurement, but also looking at companies that apply more gender equality into their advertising, marketing practices. Category number 5, community and industry engagement. This award goes to companies who are integrating gender equality in their sustainability strategies, CSR and community programs, but also companies that are leading the way in their industries, so really creating initiatives to drive systemic change in their initiatives. And I think we're all in agreement, 2020 awards would not be without a special awards for special COVID-19 action. And this really recognizes companies and leaders which have made significant contributions to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in the context of COVID-19. We have not only received more than 400 applications, but we are also very proud to say that many of the companies that are awarded today, all of them in fact by now, are women's empowerment principles signatories. They might not have been before, but throughout the process they became women's empowerment principle signatories. And actually no one would have expected, but 2020, such an important year to really mark again the importance of gender equality, to encourage others to take action, particularly also business leaders. This has been the year where we had the most signatories ever in Asia Pacific. More than 300 companies committed to implement the women's empowerment principles. And I think this is really worth a round of applause from everyone. It brings us close to the 1,000 mark, which I dedicate to WeEmpowerAsia and say we're going to reach this next year. But also this increase of signatories really has inspired us actually when we came together in May and said, like, it is such an important moment. We need to really raise awareness and we need to do something that other companies are really following this. So that was when the idea of the Women's Empowerment Principles Award was born. And since then we have a lot of months of hard work and really exciting work, really interesting applications, good collaboration with the companies. And before we go in a really exciting kind of awards ceremony here and really listening and celebrating these good practices, there are a couple of things that I still need to share with you in terms of how we awarded the winners tonight. So first of all, we had 7 countries, as I shared before, that had already 7 national ceremonies for all the 7 WeEmpowerAsia countries. However, we came to realize very early on in a discussion with our partner, the EU, we have very quickly decided to expand the award to whole of Asia Pacific. So the award was open to all countries, but we had a very focused approach in the 7 countries that I mentioned before. Everyone who has a private sector status, this could be companies, business association, chamber of commerces, small, large, multinational companies, every private sector was eligible to join the awards and is eligible also to sign the Women's Empowerment Principles. Every company was allowed to apply for 2 categories. However, when we look particularly through the evaluation and the scoring of the regional awards, we have decided that we will award a company, one registered company, only for 1 category. So a company is not able to get 2 awards, and for the simple reason, the spirit of the WEPs is creating a community, driving action and getting more behind this. So we really wanted to make this a very broad and inclusive award. How did we score now? You will hear later on a lot of our judging panel who will share some of the reflections on what they have seen and perceived. Obviously, we have looked at the companies, at their overall performance, on their policies, but I want to make very clear, the companies that applied here applied with an initiative, and this award is awarding this initiative, and it's not a company award. I think that's important to highlight. It's really focusing on their specific initiatives. Also, this is a prestigious award. It's recognition, and it's a non-monetary award. One last reflection, and then I'll believe you there's going to be more energy than me a really exciting performance that we're going to have. But I just wanted to also genuinely share, when we were reading all the applications, and you can imagine reading 400 applications is quite a job. I think what we realized is that companies are at different stages in their journey, and also amongst the different countries, what might be progressive in one country is less progressive in another country. So we also try to balance this out when we awarding or when we selected the awardees. But I think this is also the spirit, again, of the women's empowerment principles. We really want to create this bigger pool of companies, this community, to really help each other to work together as business leaders in the region. And by this, I would really like to thank you, everyone who did not only apply for this, but also the companies that have taken the first steps this year to sign the Women's Empowerment Principles and hopefully going to join us next year and applying. A huge, huge thank you for everyone who dedicated their applications here and their commitments. And with this, I'm going to be very proudly introducing an energetic performance from a Thai group called Mrs. Foxy. And they're going to surprise us tonight with a drumming performance. So up to stage for the drumming performance.
applause, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What a powerful performance to get us started. Now, I do hope that you all enjoyed that very upbeat opening act. Now, for those of you who have just joined us online, a warm welcome once again to this UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. Now, please do share our live feed on Facebook, and that is UN Women Asia and the Pacific. A warm welcome to all of you who are joining here on site. A lot of excitement awaits tonight. And before we dive into the awards and recognize the specific actions companies are taking to implement the women's empowerment principles, let's take a broader look at the role business plays in achieving gender equality and women's economic empowerment. I now have the pleasure of welcoming two very distinguished guests to the stage for a special fireside chat on envisioning a gender equal economy. They will be touching on the barriers, the opportunities, and the role of business. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, do join me in welcoming His Excellency Mr. Pirkka Tapiola, Ambassador of the European Union to Thailand, and Ms. Cindy Bishop, the newly appointed UN Women Regional Goodwill Ambassador for Asia and the Pacific. A big round of applause, please. Once again, the fireside chat, envisioning a gender equal economy, barriers, opportunities, and the role of business. Now, in the spirit of our hybrid event, our moderator joins us virtually. Mr. Mohammed Nasseri, the Regional Director for UN Women Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. He joins us online from Cairo. Mr. Nasseri, connection is good? You hear us loud and clear? Over to you.
Everyone, I've been trying to unmute myself, but I wasn't given the rights. It's excellent to be here with you. I'm actually joining from Jerusalem, not Cairo. I would have loved to be there in person, but I'm also equally grateful that we have now these technologies and working with this new hybrid mode that allows actually more participants to be with us online and in person. It's also very reassuring to see many friends of the gender equality and women's rights agenda around the table today, something that is very reassuring and comforting. Before I turn to the conversation with our guests and dear friends, please allow me to maybe share some reflections at the end of a very unusual year for all of us. Due to the prolonged pandemic, 2020 has been a year of extreme disruption, affecting everyone around the globe, especially women and the most marginalized populations, as COVID has been a tremendous setback to achieving gender equality. Looking at the bright side, though, the pandemic has revealed considerable gaps that need to be addressed, thus giving us clear directions where the gender equality agenda must be pushed forward. Stakeholders from the business world have responded to this global need. Thanks to the unwavering support of the European Union, we've never seen so many companies signing up to the women empowerment principles in Asia Pacific. This year alone, we've welcomed more than 300 newly joined Women Empowerment Principles signatories, making it a total of over 900 signatories registered in the region. Joining the global movement to build back
bear with us. Probably Mohammed is going to join us back. Otherwise, you're going to be very bored to see me too much up here. But thank you very much in any case for joining us. We knew that is going to happen. So I guess we're going to wait one more minute to see. How are you doing? Apparently it's the hotel intranet, so it's not our very well trained technical guys here, so bear with us. If not, you know what, while we get waiting for Mohammed, let's maybe get started, and I'm sure he will master the conversation and join us in. So Cindy, let me start with you. You have been appointed recently as UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, and we are really proud to have you with us. And you are from Thailand, but I would love to kind of ask you, considering this is a wider regional award, what's your perspective, or what do you see, what are the main barriers if it comes to women's empowerment or gender equality in the region? What's kind of observation that you see as Cindy Bishop, but also as a mother, as a woman living in Thailand?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me speak at this very important event, and also to have a chance to just share some key messages, I think, on behalf of UN Women and what I've experienced here in terms of the challenges women face when it comes to equal participation, economic opportunities. First of all, I'd like to start off on a more positive note, though, and that in the Asia-Pacific region, women have actually seen an increased representation in senior leadership roles. And here in Thailand, I think the number is 31% of women hold senior roles. That was a number in 2017. So we are actually top 3 in the region, following Indonesia, which I think enjoys about 46%, and then Philippines is about 40%. So those are great numbers. We could still do a lot more work in that area. But I feel that these numbers perhaps mask some of the challenges that women still face here. So I'll just go through a few key areas that I think are worth mentioning. And the first one being unequal distribution of unpaid care work. So many women go back after a full days of work and find themselves having to do a whole second shift at home. And we all know what that's like. A lot of us are wives, mothers, care workers, so forth. And you know, one thing that COVID-19 or this pandemic has really seen is a real shift, a disruption, as you were on the roles that we play, not just women but men as well at home. I know for a fact that many fathers and mothers can really relate to you the challenges of homeschooling, for example, and so but you know, this is not a new thing for many women. In fact, I think the statistics are about 4 times as much that we spend doing unpaid care work. And this takes a toll, and it takes up a lot of energy, and it takes up a lot of our resources. And so, you know, encouraging men to, first of all, accept it and realize it, and perhaps find other ways that you can support women at home, whether you are a husband or you are a business leader, so that they can help alleviate some of these burdens. And the pandemic has also seen an increased unemployment of women. Many female entrepreneurs of small and medium sized businesses have had to shut their businesses down. And so this is definitely a setback in terms of women equal participation. And this is not just for women in business, but this is just economy on the whole. Here in Asia Pacific, the number is about 96% of businesses are small to medium sized enterprises. And women make up a lot of that. I think the number here in Thailand is about 40%. And so that's taking a toll on the economy. And unfortunately, many women, first of all, have difficulty accessing credit. And when they do, they get a lot less credit than men. And so these are all kind of areas that we should be talking about in terms of you know, increasing equal participation. In my area of work, before becoming Goodwill Ambassador with UN Women, is about reducing gender-based violence in this, especially sexual assault and harassment. And so I see an overlapping of gender equality in business and also this area. And it really comes down to deep-rooted gender biases, stereotypes, outdated social norms that are really holding women back. And one of the most harmful contributors to gender inequality is sexual harassment in the workplace and gender-based violence in general. And so realizing that this is a key contributor to gender inequality and hopefully finding ways as companies in the business world to really make your businesses a safe space for women in terms of perhaps providing a bit more flexible business practices to help women face the challenges are all key areas. These awards are a wonderful opportunity for everyone who has a business to really step up and show what you guys are doing in terms of championing gender equality, not just in your workplace, but in society at large. And I just want to give a brief example in terms of some really creative, innovative ways that business leaders can reach out across your network, collaborate, innovate, and do amazing things. One of the examples is Dragonfly 360, founded by one of our judges who are joining us today, Kun Pranapa Pornprapa. She's, we started this Dragonfly 360 as a platform where business leaders, innovators, so many influencers can come together and really just propel the issues of gender equality. And so these are just different ways that the business world can help further the gender equality.
Thank you so much, Cindy. I hear that we have Mohammed back, and I think Mohammed, Cindy has done a perfect summary and really addressed all the challenges that you could not have done better, I'm sorry to say so. But we want to bring you back into the conversation, and I think one of the reflections that I have, but over to you obviously in a second, I think probably what you mentioned about economic toll as well. I think there's probably a good segue into this, Mohammed, to get Ambassador Tapiola into our conversation. And with this, I'm going to leave the podium and over to you.
I think you should stay at the podium just in case I get caught off again. And as we've said in the beginning, it's a new way of working, this hybrid kind of interaction. So we're trying to get it right. And meanwhile, we speak with one voice as UN Women. But turning to you, Ambassador Tapiola, why is the EU committed to the gender equality agenda? And how, in your views, the EU helps to achieve gender equality in the business world? To you, Ambassador Tapiola.
Great to see you, Mohammed, and greetings from Bangkok to Jerusalem. Well, I'll start by answering your question in very simple terms. Because it makes sense, because it's the right thing to do, and because, as the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has said, we cannot afford to run this planet with 50% of our capacity. We need the 100%. So I think the reason why we're so committed is pretty clear. Gender equality has always been a priority for the European Union, both at home and across the globe. It's necessary, we believe, for sustainable development and for societies to flourish, to prosper. And the empowerment of women and equality have been for a long time core European principles. And they are also enshrined in EU law and in our treaties for over 60 years. Now, what can we do to help business? Now, that's a very broad question, and my sort of normal answer would be, how much time do you have? And I don't think we have time to go through everything which we're doing. We are inside putting standards in place. A number of our member states are putting also requirements on how many percentage of board members need to be women, of big companies, and so on and so forth. It's quite clear, if we talk about globally, that today's value and supply chains are global, and it's very important that we act globally to make sure that women are part of those supply chains which we have. Now, I'll focus rather than on what we are doing globally or what we're doing inside Europe. Let me focus on Asia, and let me focus on what we're doing together with UN Women with WeEmpowerAsia. Now, you have basically two aspects. One is building a community. Help bring businesses together. We had, with Katja, a discussion on the name of this program, the industry disruptor, because that doesn't mean that women are disrupting the industry, but it does mean that we need to disrupt old ways of doing things, ways of where we are working on that 50% and not that 100%. And through the industry disruptor, we are connecting companies. We're connecting networks, companies led by women, all the way up to multinationals, looking at best practices, building a community. And that, I think, is very important. The second are the Women's Empowerment Principles, the WEPs Awards, the WEPs, which so many companies have signed up to and which we are celebrating today with this award ceremony. Very, very important work. And I'd really like to congratulate those businesses who are here and those who are the awardees for the work you're doing. Because here, what really matters is that what you're doing does not remain at the level of talk. Because we're very good, I think, as modern societies are putting in place jargon and saying the right things. But it's important that those commitments are there, that you act, and that you turn those commitments into reality. And this is precisely what you see we are awarding today. So, starting from the fact, which I said that it makes sense, we need to have everybody as part of this process, to building communities, to implementing principles, to turning them into reality, and to showing that by using that 100%, we make better profits, we get better skill sets, and we get better outcomes. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Tapiola. And as you rightly said, it's not only the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do. Committing to the principles is very important, but also unpacking them and committing to achieving them is also equally important, and we will not achieve anything without trying to unpack these into concrete actions on the ground from the companies and the private sector. We've heard about companies and leaders who are championing gender equality, existing platforms and programs for support, and where there is still room for improvement. In the end, it also comes down to individual responsibility and actions to create more inclusive society. So a reflection and a question to both of you, Cindy and Ambassador Tapiola, what actions would you recommend individuals to take to accelerate gender equality and women's economic empowerment? Maybe if we turn to you first, Cindy, and then to Ambassador Tapiola.
Of course. Well, gender equality is a huge issue, obviously. Again, how much time do you have? And it's very complex. And it's easy to perhaps say, well, it's too big for me to do anything about it. But that's not true. Everyone here has a responsibility and an opportunity to do something, right? So we'll start with the business community as CEOs. Anyone who's in the leadership position at your company, you literally have the power within your hands to make a difference. It starts in your company, and then it will go out into the broader society. So, valuing both men and women's opinions, giving the women in your organization a chance to speak, to lead perhaps, ensuring that your business is a safe space for women, having sexual assault and harassment policies clearly in place, perhaps even being a little bit more flexible in terms of business practices, whether that be taking into consideration, her unpaid care work at home. Maybe if she's breastfeeding, have a spot where she can do that and have breaks. I mean, these are all things that perhaps may seem little to you, but they are huge for female employees. and of course to be a role model in your company as well. For professionals, perhaps if you wanted to volunteer your personal time in terms of skills, in terms of mentorship programs, these are all very, very valuable things that you can do in your company or even in women's rights organizations or in the community as well. And if anyone is a philanthropist or someone who is on the level of an influencer, using your networks, your platform, your voice to change stereotypes, and this is a huge area that everyone can be helping to, and also in terms of being an active bystander when it comes to any instances of harassment or violence. Please make sure that you speak up, be a champion for the women in need, the Leave survivors, and if you are an individual, I think just examining your thoughts, your actions, the way you treat women, and this goes for men and women, because us women can be quite guilty at times of using the very same stereotypes and biases that we accuse men of. And so just making sure that we are practicing what we preach. And also last but not least, if you are parents, let's teach our boys to respect women as well. So these are all just some ways that individuals can help.
Cindy, I think you should also look back at the screen so you can also nod at me. I'm joking. But moving to Ambassador Tapiola, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have to say that after that list, it's very difficult to add something, except that I agree with everything which Cindy said. But I think that as a manager, I'd say it is a question of your attitude, your approach. And it starts, I think societies are developing, and that's a good thing. It starts by positive discrimination in the beginning, and then moving from there to just simply trying to get the best people employed. And you'll notice in a while, when you've made that mental change that, okay, you need to get that 100% there, and you start selecting people, so you end up pretty much in a 50-50 split. And that didn't happen earlier, because when you start realizing that you don't have a full skill set if everybody is not represented, is a very important thing. Another thing is flexibility, and I have to say that this is one thing where you see the EU is doing quite a lot in that we are looking at regulations which extend flexible working arrangements much longer until children are teenage, later on, and which don't only benefit mothers, but benefit fathers as well. And this, and I'll end with what Cindy was talking about earlier. What does your home look like? How do you share housework? Now, as somebody who used to live alone for a long time, so I got used to looking after myself, and being married, I've continued looking after myself, but I'd have to say that I've been the cook of the family at a time when we were working in Brussels. I never minded ironing. I look who has time to do what things quicker. Here I wake up at 6 to put a teenager into a school bus, and I also run an embassy. I run a large diplomatic mission. And I personally think that my life would be much poorer if I didn't do that. Now, if I didn't participate at home, if I would leave things to somebody else. But that also lets other people, lets your spouse, your partner, empower themselves, build a career. So I think we need to redefine also, for those who haven't, because I think it's becoming more and more usual, but redefine our relationships in a way that there cannot be gender stereotypes. You have to see who does what better, who does it quicker, and make sure that both have the time for themselves to fulfill what they want to do to build their careers. And this is about gender equality, and it's about basic principles which we need to remember. So I'd say if you're talking about individuals, they're very simple things, as you say, but they're maybe not that small in the end if they pile up. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And your intervention was a very graceful answer to what Cindy asked for, which is practicing what we preach or walking the talk. As you rightly said earlier, it's not only the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do. And for us to continue demolishing the barriers that would stand in front of women being more active in the private business spheres, companies have the responsibility to promote more gender-inclusive workplaces, as you rightly said, looking into the regulatory frameworks, whether in the office or at home, given that now home has become an extension of the office, and that is going to be the new norm for some time to come, if not forever. We need to look and think collectively, how can we continue to provide a safe space for all employees to address the challenges they may be facing in the workplace, and the workplace now is extending to the home as well. From an individual perspective, I also believe that individual business leaders, amongst which are sitting with us today in the room, can use their power in the field of marketing and advertising by mobilizing their company's assets and network to disseminate the message on gender equality and pay attention to the other existing platforms and movements to create synergy. One way that the private sector's innovation can contribute to the response to the pandemic and promote gender equality and human rights is to apply the big data and artificial intelligence where appropriate as well. That could come in the form of identifying which healthcare and other public services are overloaded, track and counter the spread of misogyny, xenophobia, and disinformation, and measure the impacts of the crisis on vulnerable populations, showing help is most needed. It's also crucial for organizations to take steps to bringing more women into senior leadership roles. Diversity in leadership is not only good for business, but it ensures that companies are responsive to the needs of their female employees as well as the communities they work within. I think this brings us to the end of our fireside chat. It was a pleasure to be with you virtually, and I give it back to our very able MC. Back to you, MC.
Thank you very much to you moderating this session, Mr. Mohammed Nassery, who joins us from Jerusalem. And also thank you very much indeed to you, Your Excellency Ambassador Tapiola, and Goodwill Ambassador Ms. Bishop, for illuminating some of the barriers women face in the region, but also showing us opportunities for change, as well as sharing your personal reflections. Also, kind thanks to Ms. Katia as well for jumping in and executing the first question there. Appreciate that highly. And now on to the awards presentation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as Ms. Katia shared, National WEPs Award ceremonies have been celebrated in China, India, Indonesia, the Philippines, as well as in Vietnam. And before we move into the regional awards portion of the ceremony, we would like to take a few minutes to announce the National WEPs Awards awardees for Thailand and Malaysia, as the two remaining countries in the WeEmpowerAsia family. And to commence with this part of the ceremony, we have a special video message from Kun Ying Natika Watanatwekin Ang Ubon-Gun, chairperson of the ASEAN Women Entrepreneurs Network, or AWEN, and longtime advocate and supporter of UN Women. If I may direct your attention to the big screen here, let's go find out what she has to share with us.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, chief executives, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to convey to you all my message of congratulations at this great occasion. As a partner of UN Women through the EU Fund WeEmpowerAsia Programme. First of all, let me thank all our partners for the first ever Women's Empowerment Principles Award in the Asia Pacific. Allow me also to express my appreciation to the ASEAN business representatives and advocates for gender equality present at this event. I'm pleased to note that some 100 business leaders in Thailand have endorsed the WEPs, thus committing themselves to give priority to women's equality against the grim backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic and its inequitable impact on women workers and entrepreneurs. Meanwhile, the first WEPs awareness session with nearly 200 business leaders kicked off in Malaysia in October. These leaders are now becoming champions of gender equality in their organizations and countries. Collectively, those change makers in business will help to ensure and uphold equality in employment opportunities, in pay for similar work, in access to financial services, and in the sharing of unpaid care and domestic work. In the process, there will be a powerful force in accelerating our collective and noble efforts to end progressively all forms of gender-based disparities and discrimination. We all gather here to mark and recognize these achievements to date, as well as to celebrate a more inclusive and equitable economy and future to come. For the WEPs Awards regional ceremony, in an eloquent testament to the enormous potential and leadership qualities of our distinguished finalists and winners of the Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. To all the WEPs winners in Malaysia and Thailand, and likewise to all WEPs promoters and advocates in ASEAN, please accept my sincerest admiration and congratulations. Finally, let me just emphasize once again the unwavering commitment of AWEN to multi-stakeholder collaboration and partnership in our forward march toward a more prosperous, cohesive, and people-centered ASEAN community, without leaving anyone behind, women and girls especially. Thank you, and a wonderful evening to you all.
And a very big thank you for that special message, Kun Ying Natika of AWEN. And now the moment has come to announce the awardees from Thailand and Malaysia. I have the pleasure of inviting Ms. Chong Chenyo, the Independent Director of the Stock Exchange of Malaysia, Bursa Malaysia Berhad. Now she joins us online. I'm going to cross my fingers here. Before serving as Independent Director of Bursa Malaysia, Ms. Chong worked in the IT industry for more than 30 years. In 2015, she was appointed CEO of IBM Malaysia, becoming the first woman to head the company in its 55-year history. In 2016, she was awarded the CEO Champion Award by Talent Corps, and in 2018 was recognized as one of Malaysia's 25 Women of Influence by Malaysia Business Publication. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Chong.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests joining in Bangkok and from around the world, it is my honor to be with you today representing Bursa Malaysia Berhad, the Stock Exchange of Malaysia. At Bursa Malaysia, we strive to be a gender-neutral organization, and female leaders make up more than half of our senior management team and 1/3 of our board of directors. We continuously focus on building our female talent pipelines and implementing family-friendly practices to create an inclusive work environment for all. We are proud to have been included in the 2020 Bloomberg Gender Equality Index, which is a testament to our efforts to advancing gender parity. We are honored to be working with and supporting UN Women's Work. We believe organizations should tap on the vast pools of female talents to build competitive advantage and drive better business outcomes. As a WEP signatory and the National Stock Exchange of Malaysia, we recognize we have an important role to play to influence the wider business community in closing the gender gap. To this end, we host annual Ring the Bell events and carry out advocacy and education programs to drive the gender equality agenda. Progress and future growth will depend on the collective efforts of all stakeholders. And I hope this initiative will encourage and raise awareness of the importance of gender diversity. As we all work together to turn commitment into actions, I am privileged to showcase some of the companies leading the way by announcing the 2020 WEPs Awards winners for Thailand and Malaysia. Following this ceremony, our Thai awardees will celebrate in Bangkok, and our awardees from Malaysia will be celebrated at the January 14 launch of WeEmpowerAsia WEPs Activator Programme. Now, it is time to reveal the winners. In the category of leadership commitment and action for Thailand, the first runner-up is Ms. Caroline Ling, Authorized Director of WeEmpower. And the winner is Ms. Shannon Kalayanamit, Partner Gobi Partners. For Malaysia, the winner is Ms. Amelia Wati Zainal, Founder and Managing Director, Q3 Management Solutions. In the Gender Inclusive Workplace category, we have 3 awardees for Thailand. The second runner-up is Nestle Thailand. The first runner-up is Canon Specialized Nutrition Thailand. And the winner is Dan Starling Chan. Representing Malaysia, the first runner-up is HSBC Electronic Data Processing. And the winner of the Gender Inclusive Workplace category is Deloitte Malaysia. In the Gender Responsive Marketplace category, our winner for Thailand is Unilever Thailand. And for Malaysia, our winner is India Group Southeast Asia. Finally, we celebrate 2 winners from Malaysia for the Community and Industry Engagement category. The first runner-up is Capital Holdings. And the winner is University of Technology Sarawak. Congratulations to our 12 awardees from Thailand and Malaysia, and well done. I am now passing the floor back to your host in Bangkok. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Another big round of applause, please, for all the 12 recipients. Congratulations to you. I'm sure that there are some very excited individuals here in Bangkok and many excited individuals in Malaysia as well. And also many kind thanks extended to Ms. Chong there for announcing the winners. Now with that, all WeEmpowerAsia national winners have been announced, and it's now time to widen our focus to Asia Pacific. And as we heard earlier, the top winners from our 7 WeEmpowerAsia countries were placed into a judging pool with shortlisted applications from 10 other countries, and our expert panel of 12 judges They really did have a difficult, tough job there. And we're going to now welcome Ms. Katia back on stage to introduce our distinguished panel and welcome a few judges to share their reflections. Once again, Ms. Katia.
Short. I know you must be tired of seeing me up here, so that was not intended like this, but I think this is a very important one, and we've heard from Cindy before. Bias is a really big element when we speak about gender equality, and I think this was also one of the things that we looked at. How can we take bias out of this process of really identifying the winner? And I just want to really give a very heartfelt thank you to our 12 judges who have been doing this on voluntarily base, so they have not been rewarded or awarded for any of this, so it's really voluntarily. So a huge, huge thank you for them. We're gonna just skim through here a little bit and have a look and really thank them for their contributions, but we're not gonna let them go without hearing from them. So what we're gonna do right now, in the spirit of time, we're gonna have 3 of our judges that will reflect a little bit on what they have experienced throughout the process, how the selections have been made. And I would love, on behalf of the 12 judges in the region, invite our 3 judges. I'm going to go first, closest geographically to Malaysia, and we're going to have with us this afternoon Dr. Marcela Lucas, who is the CEO of Lead Women. We're going to have with us Boots Garcia, who herself is an awardee in many, many areas, but also the chairperson of the Philippines Business Coalition for Women's Empowerment. Oh, I'm so thrilled to actually see that you're physically all on the screen and that there is no issue here. And I see Samantha joining us actually from my home country in Germany, but on behalf of ADB. Ladies, I'm happy you are with us. Next year, I make sure you're going to be here physically. But we are, as you can see, a bit over time already. But why don't I start with you, Marcela? Would you be able to just share from your own experience, looking at many of the applications from different countries, any kind of observations, learnings, what you want to share with us here in the virtual audience?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Katja. Good afternoon and greetings from Malaysia. So really, to keep it short, I saw 2 main things. One, the country variety. So we had applications from 17 countries, all the way, if you sort of visualize Asia, all the way from Tonga to China to Pakistan. Like you guys did a great job of covering the geographic diversity. The other thing that, as we were discussing as a judging panel, that was very interesting is many of the applicants, probably the majority, were not actually WEPs signatories when they applied, which is very interesting. And I think that indicates sort of 2 things. One, there's some fantastic work that's being done in the region. And I think oftentimes we highlight maybe what's being done at headquarters at the global level, but we don't acknowledge the local challenges and also the local solutions, right? And I think that's really critical. The other thing also is we see that some of those companies look at 1 or 2 principles, but maybe not all the principles. So I think taking all that together, the WEPs will provide a powerful framework and create really this global community of peers to support each other's work and to amplify that work in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcela. And Marcela and her organization is doing extraordinary work in Malaysia to support this, actually. So thank you for this, Marcela. Let me turn further geographically and to the Philippines. Boots, thank you for being with us. What were your experiences? Anything to share from your perspective?
Yes, good evening, everyone from Manila. I actually was quite impressed with the diversity in the sizes of the applicants and the nominees. So we had companies with only 10 employees in a rural area, somewhere in the region. And at the extreme were, companies with 10,000 plus employees being part of a global organization. But I think what I could say is that gender equality can come in all forms and shapes and sizes. Being small should not be a deterrent. Small companies should not be scared, if I might say, of applying the WEPs principles. I think what's more important is that what is simple should not, making it simple will not make it less important. It should just be concrete, structured, systematic, logical, and measured. So whether you're small or you're large, you should not be, you should adopt the WEPs principles. And I'd like to add the second point of the number of women entrepreneurs who have participated just goes to show you, especially in the COVID response category, just goes to show you that women entrepreneurship is critical to the recovery of any economy, because we are more resilient, I'm sorry to say, and we can addressing the impact of the pandemic. I want to end at that.
Thank you very much, Boots, for sharing this reflection honestly. Let me turn it over to you, Samantha, to get a little bit of flavor from someone working at ADB. What's kind of your perspective, the applications that you have read throughout the process?
Thanks very much, and good morning, everyone from Germany. As mentioned, that's where I'm currently based. On behalf of the Asian Development Bank, it was a real pleasure to participate on this judging panel. And I think, 2020 has been a very challenging year for everybody. And, we've really seen gender disparities exacerbated. So it was even more inspiring to be able to be judging these great initiatives in this context. So following on from my fellow colleagues who just mentioned some of the diverse applicants and that we looked at, I'd like to talk about another aspect of diversity, which was quite impressive, and that was the sector diversity. Looking at the applicants, we saw, things from food and beverage companies to consumer goods to retail, tech, higher education, and also some financial institutions. But I guess if I had to make any observation, the one that I would like to see more of is more from the financial sector. Like next year, it'd be great if we could see applicants from industry associations, chambers of commerce, stock exchanges, and the like. I mean, these are all eligible institutions to participate as WEP signatories and also to be nominated for the awards. So I look forward to seeing more of that in 2021, and congratulations to everyone who participated and the winners. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the three of you. And Samantha, you mentioned the word diversity multiple times. And I think that's what we try to do with that judging panel, to really have a diverse group of people. I know we have three women now here, but we had also men in the panel, as you have seen before. So it was really important for us throughout this process to have a very inclusive approach. And I think a nice learning from our side is that we actually, through the process, have also forged collaboration amongst some of the judges, but also some of the companies and UN Women. So I think it was a really interesting process to really foster more collaboration moving forward. And I know we are really behind time, so I'm going to leave it with that. A huge thank you to the judges. And the final moment is come. We are turning to the real winners of the ceremony tonight. So thank you very much.
That's correct. Thank you once again, Katia, for introducing the regional judging panel. It was wonderful to have some of the judges speak to us as well. Now, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as Katia did mention, it is now the time we've all been waiting for to announce the winners of our first category, and that is Leadership, Commitment and Action. Now, our presenter, Mr. Guo Sheng, CEO of Xiaopin.com, which is China's largest online job recruitment platform, and has become an official partner for the UN Women China WEPs Awards. Unfortunately, he was supposed to announce the winners, but he's had urgent matters to take care of. So if I may announce the winners on his behalf, and luckily he did send over the script. Now, there is a reason why the first women's empowerment principle is establish high-level corporate leadership for gender equality. When leaders make a strong commitment to gender equality and identity it as a top strategic priority for their business, initiatives are more likely to succeed and be sustainable. Please speak to your own experience as a leader standing up for gender equality and implementing gender equality initiatives in Xiaopin.com Why is it important for leaders to take a stand on gender equality? So some questions to reflect on there. WEPs Principle 1 also encourages leaders to establish company-wide goals and targets for gender equality, as well as implement gender-sensitive policies and practices across the company. Now, these top-level commitments have the power to create change across company value chains, and they also act as catalysts to accelerate wider momentum towards gender-inclusive business. The awardees we celebrate are leaders whose visions for change and bold actions have created transformative change in their workplaces, marketplaces, and communities. Now, without further delay, it is my great honor to announce the 2020 UN Women Asia Pacific WEPs Award awardees for leadership, commitment, and action. The second runner-up is Mr. Anil Kariwala, founder and CEO of Kariwala Industries. Mr. Kariwala set up an all-women manufacturing unit in West Bengal, providing skills training to more than 5,000 women over the last 30 years. The company also provides interest-free bicycles and two-wheeler loans for promoting women's economic empowerment, safety, and independence. The first runner-up is Ms. Lucky Chetri, Chief Executive Director of Three Sisters Adventure Trekking in Nepal. In 1998, Lucky and her two sisters founded Three Sisters Adventure Trekking, the first women-owned trekking company, and is still the only trekking agency which specializes in offering trained female guides and assistant guides. Lucky is also the founder of Empowering Women of Nepal, a non-profit that works collaboratively with Three Sisters to provide practical skills-based training programs combined with gainful employment opportunities for women from poor, isolated mountainous regions in Nepal. And finally, the winner for the 2020 UN Women Asia Pacific WEPs Award for Leadership, Commitment and Action is... A big round of applause for Professor Doreen Shanaz, founder and CEO of Impact Investment Exchange Global, a global leader of social impact and impact investing. In 2009, Professor Doreen Shanaz founded 2X, the world's first public trading platform for social enterprises that integrates gender into the core of the investment process. Among her many notable achievements leading 2X is the creation of the Women's Livelihood Bond Series, the world's first impact investing instrument focused on women to be listed on a stock exchange. Congratulations. Over to Ms. Shanaz.
Thank you very much. Firstly, congratulations to UN Women and all the participants today for recognizing the incredible need to bring women in the forefront of the capital markets, the financial markets, and for joining the movement that IIX has been building for the last 11 years through innovative finance. Women's continued exclusion in the financial market is a $28 trillion loss to the world. So we decided to change that. So building on IIX's decade of work of transforming financial system to unlock capital for underserved women, we created an entirely new asset class, the Women's Livelihood Bond Series, which is unlocking unprecedented capital for women even during a global pandemic. Having won the recognition of many UN bodies, and especially now from the UN Women, we welcome more partners to bring the Women's Livelihood Bond Series to the rest of the Global South. So we invite you here today from each of UN Women country office to representatives of the European Union and the governments across ASEAN to get your countries to be part of the next movement for women, which is the Women's Livelihood Bond, bringing women's voice and value to the Wall Streets of the world. Thank you very much for this incredible honor and recognition.
Thank you, and congratulations once again to you, Professor Shanaz. Your work is beyond inspiring, and I speak for all of us here when I thank you and the other awardees for your contributions to advancing gender equality and women's empowerment in your own organizations and beyond. Very deserving indeed. And now our next category recognizes leaders under the age of 30. To introduce this award is Ms. Pranabda Pornprapha Jirathiwat, Director of Siam Motors and founder of Dragonfly 360. She's also a member of our regional judging panel. Now, in 2019, Kun Pranabda founded Dragonfly 360, a regional platform bringing business leaders, influencers, and activists together to catalyze public and private sector action for gender equality and women's empowerment. A first-of-its-kind event, the 2019 Dragonfly Summit was attended by 800 participants from across Southeast Asia, including more than 550 from the private sector, and brought visibility to issues that girls and women face when confronted with judgments, stereotypes, and expectations based on gender. Please extend a warm welcome to Kun Pranabda.
It is my great pleasure to be here today and great honor to be presenting this category. Firstly, I'd like to thank you, UN Women and the European Union, for putting together this regional award, which is much needed at this time. I have been an advocate of gender equality for quite some time, but more people to raise the cause is always more powerful. From what I understand, according to the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Platform, a report, it will take another 100 years to achieve gender parity. That's 4 generations. That means my children and our grandchildren will not live in a gender equal world yet. As discouraging as that may sound, what's even more discouraging is when I go to school and meet some of the parents, the things that are said to still hold girls back is quite disturbing. But what is encouraging is throughout the journey for Dragonfly that I have been an advocate for the past 2 years, the people that have actually stood up the most and the generation, the youth have spoke up are the girls, and they're fighting for us, and it's great to hear that these young girls and these young ladies have said enough. You know, we've had enough of this inequality, and it's so refreshing and so encouraging, even more to see that the young boys are supportive of the girls. So with that, it gives me even more, I guess, more power to continue the fight, and as it should give more power for everybody to see that there is encouragement and there is hope for our future out there. Let's speed it up a bit, though. Let's support these young kids, and we as responsible adults, as I'd like to see, can be supportive of these young children because they're ready. They're ready for the fight. They're sick of it. They're sick of hearing about it, and you can see that not only for gender equality. You can see that in many aspects with the mob that's happening. Children are ready to stand up and fight, and all we really need to do is give them a platform, give them a voice to be heard, and continue with regional activities like this to let them have recognition. So without further ado, the young leaders who have been selected for this award have shown creativity, innovation, and a refusal to accept business as usual. That is nothing short of amazing. And now it is my great honor to announce the awardees of the 2020 UN Women Asia Pacific WEP Awards for Leadership, Commitment, and Action, leaders under the age of 30. The second runner-up is Ms. Divya Rathod, founder of Silvery Nanos Innovations LLP, India. Divya is the initiator of Nari Saf Toilet Ki Sawari, an initiative for women's hygiene in public toilets started in March 2020 with the product Habito. Habito is a disinfectant which, sprayed only once, disinfects toilets for 1 month, both impacting the environment by consuming less water and preventing urinary tract infection among women. An order has been given by Indian Railways for use in toilets in which each railway station and also in trains where public toilets are built, covering 20 stations and over 200 toilets. Silvery Nanos also has plans to establish similar partnerships with airports in India. The first runner-up is Ms. Vania Sentoso, co-founder of Hey Startic, artistic eco-fashion from Indonesia. Vania was only 12 years old when she first started her environmental project that she named Hey Startic. Hey Startic then grew to become an innovation for upcycling specialist that promotes sustainable fashion and circular economy. It empowers local communities, especially women with low incomes, to hone skills on waste management, handcrafting, public speaking, and entrepreneurship. As a young woman entrepreneur, Vania has utilized Hey Startic to combat stereotypes of women's roles in the community, demonstrating that women too can be skilled entrepreneurs and even become family breadwinners through their own upcycling innovations. Vania is also a motivation speaker and has been invited to various forums on entrepreneurship, where she continues to motivate and share her experience with fellow young women entrepreneurs. And finally, the Women for Leadership Commitment and Action for Leaders under 30 years of age is Katrina Chan, Executive Director of QBO Innovation Hub in the Philippines. She set up a program called Startup Pinay to reach out and support more women in leading, innovating, and creating a better future. This effort has led to almost doubling their female signups and a 10 times increase in resources devoted to female founders. She hopes to continue influencing and elevating the presence of women in the ecosystem of techno-entrepreneurs, making it a true space for prosperity. I'll now give the floor to Ms. Katrina Chan to tell us more about QBO.
Hi everyone! Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much. It's such a huge honor for me to be accepting a UN Women Asia Pacific WEPs Awards today. That an initiative spearheaded by someone like me from the Philippines can compete and be recognized at the APAC level is just 100% goals. Our vision at Kubo has always been to see Filipino tech startups transform our nation and even change the world. We've witnessed firsthand how, with the right enabling environment and enough support, anyone can be empowered to create extraordinary companies that scale up, create jobs, build wealth, and make an impact. Startup Pinay and championing Filipinas in particular to not only participate equally, but also take the lead in the male-dominated tech space is a core part of realizing this vision. We women need to own and be actively taking part in building the innovations and solutions of our future if we're ever to fully realize its potential. I'm excited to see that, especially among young entrepreneurs, things are starting to change. I'm optimistic we're gonna get there, but there's still some ways to go. So while I take great pride in receiving this award today and will certainly celebrate a bit more tonight, we're definitely just getting started. So in closing, I'd like to thank Kubo's partners, both in the Philippine government and private sector, the giants whose shoulders I've stood on, and my many mentors who have paved the path for me and given me counsel. I'd also really like to thank my amazing, passionate, and extraordinary hardworking team, the Kubo Cuties, whom I've had the honor to lead, and last but definitely not the least, the Startup Pinays, and the fantastic female founders of my generation and the many more that will come after us. You inspire me, and this win is for all of us. So congratulations again to everyone who's being recognized today. And once again, thank you very, very, very much.
Congratulations to you, Ms. Katrina Rausa-Chan of Cubo Innovation Hub, and thank you very much to the lovely Kun Pranabda for announcing the winners. And now we do have 4 final categories left, but we will pause here for a quick 5-minute break. So for the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, joining us here on site, we do have some refreshments, some beverages at the back there. Feel free to walk that way and come back to your seats with a drink. And for those of you joining online, feel free to join us again at 5. Now, in the meantime, we will have that QR code up on the screen. Do take those photos and do hashtag as well. Put that up on social media. Hashtags WeEmpowerAsia and WEPs Awards. Please do join us again in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
am Anil Kariwala, CEO of Kariwala Industries Limited, India. We chose that we would dedicate one of our manufacturing facilities completely to women, local women, women from the local community. Women have a creative ability to win. With that creative ability, they are able to put more heart and soul into the work. And I truly felt it would be the best honor to the women of our organization. They would see what their organization stands for, what they are achieving. This award goes out to them.
Hello everyone, Namaste. This is Divya Rathod, founder of Silvery Nanos Innovations LLP. This company was started for solving women problems and by women. Hence, economic empowerment of women is very vital in this organization because I feel that when women is independent and economically empowered, the family and the nation becomes stronger. I applied for WEP Awards so that by winning this, I can set an example for all the women in society to follow their dreams and passion.
Hello everybody, my name is Peter Betzel. I am the CEO and CSO of IKEA in India. Our vision is we want to create a better everyday life for the many people. This means that we are ensuring equal opportunities for both women and men, and we want to reach 50-50 gender balance in every unit, in every function, and every level. We want to make a bold stand in society and in business that equality can make a difference, and that equality is very important and non-negotiable.
I'm Noni Purnomo, President Director and CEO from Bluebird, Indonesia. Women empowerment to our organization means freedom to choose whichever path we believe and whoever we want to become. Empowering women economically means enabling them to become parts of the pillars. Bluebird is a bird of happiness. We aspire to share our experience in embedding WEP in our company and empowering women in the family to create a better life.
My name is Rahmat Kaimuddin, the CEO of Bukalapak. At Bukalapak, our mission is to create a fair economy for all. We want everyone to have the access and ability to participate in commercial activities without any limitation, including gender. Currently, around 30% of our sellers are women. We hope in the future we can improve this number. We are participating in this initiative because we want to be part of this great movement and we want to continue to learn and to be inspired by the members of this community.
My name is Vikram Sinha. I am the Director and Chief Operating Officer of Indosat Ooredoo, Indonesia. Many of Indosat Ooredoo social initiatives help to empower women and girls by providing them access to education, health service, and economic empowerment. By joining WEPS Award, Indosat Ooredoo want to play an active role in encouraging other private sector to jointly address the challenge faced by women in the current pandemic situation.
I am Jeannie Havelosa. I am the President and Chief Visionary Officer of the enterprise Great Women Philippines. The whole supply chain, the whole stakeholder direction, and everything we do with the Great Women brand platform is focused at the DNA of women's economic empowerment and creating a real gender-responsive marketplace direction for all the activities that we do. We hope this can help booster the whole brand platform of Great Women into the international space, because after all, this kind of a collaboration is what all women, small business owners need in a time today.
I'm Katrina Rausachan, co-founder and director at Kubo, a national startup innovation hub based in the Philippines. Kubo's mission is to develop and unlock opportunities in the tech startup ecosystem in the Philippines. For Kubo, making an impact towards women's economic empowerment means ensuring that women are encouraged to pursue lucrative careers in this industry if that's what they choose, and are likewise able to advance and succeed in building their own tech startup companies. As a young startup ourselves, we felt it would be an amazing opportunity to build our network among and learn from established organizations that share our vision. We also hope that attaining this recognition could raise our profile and build awareness about the efforts we are pursuing.
We are very proud to share that nearly 50% of our managers and 1/3 of our board of directors are female. We are very happy to see an increasing number of female graduates to join our management trainee program and the fresher program every year. With our own achievement of gender equality and the empowerment of women, we want to be a pioneer and role model to the business community and society.
Hello everyone, my name is Van. I am one of the leaders of Unilever Vietnam. At Unilever, we want to be an inclusive business. We want to contribute to create a more inclusive world, regardless of genders, age, race, or ability. That means a world in which every woman and girl can create the kind of life she wishes to lead. Gender inclusivity and women empowerment is one of the 3 main pillars of our sustainability programs in Unilever. By applying for this award, I would like to be part of a driving force for gender inclusivity.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if you could kindly make your way back inside this main ballroom here for the UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. We have 4 remaining categories, and We're very excited to find out the winners. If you could all kindly take your seats, please, as we are a little bit behind schedule. So we do want to begin with the second part of our award ceremony as soon as possible. Thank you very much indeed for your kind cooperation. Once again, inviting all our distinguished guests to kindly take your seats, please, so that we can continue with the UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards Regional Ceremony. A warm welcome back, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. For those who have just joined us online, welcome to this UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards Regional Ceremony. Now, we will now be revealing the winners of the remaining 4 categories. And it's now time to discover the awardees of the category that received the highest number of applications, and that is Gender Inclusive Workplace. To present this award, we are honored to be joined by one of our key supporters in Indonesia and a member of both the Indonesia National Judging Panel and Regional Judging Panel, Ms. Maya Juwita. Now, she's the Executive Director of the Indonesia Business Coalition for Women Empowerment, a coalition of companies that are committed to promoting women's economic empowerment and gender equality at the workplace. And prior to this current position, she was head of HR at the WWF Indonesia and HR manager for Southeast Asia Regional Program at World Agroforestry Center. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Maya Juwita.
In Bangkok and around the world, greetings from Jakarta. I'm so happy today, virtually of course, to present this award by being part of the National Judging Panel for Indonesia and also part of the Regional Judging Panel. As we heard earlier, this category received the largest number of applications. And indeed, workplace covered 3 WEPs principles. Principle 2 focus on equal opportunity and discrimination and non-discrimination in recruitment, closing the gender pay gap, and family-friendly workplace policies that enable women and men to meet both and home life responsibilities. Principle 3 calls for the establishment of safe workspaces and strong measures to create a working environment free from all forms of violence and sexual harassment. Principle 4 is about supporting women's career progression, providing training, and creating gender-balanced leadership team, and this pay off in business terms. Companies in the top quartile for gender diversity on executive teams were 21% more likely to outperform on profitability and 27% more likely to have superior value creation. Considering the holistic approach of the WEPs, it is important to expand what we typically think of as the workplace. It is not just office buildings, but extends from the C-suite all the way down to factory floors and the farms of suppliers. Different challenges are occurring in these diverse settings, but they are also workplaces and need to be included as part of corporate workplace policies and practices. As mentioned before, Indonesia Business Coalition for Women Empowerment, or IBCW, is committed to assist companies in Indonesia to optimize its role in enhancing women's economic empowerment and workplace gender equality by modifying their policies and practices using gender transformative approach. We are part of Investing in Women, it's a regional initiative funded by the Australian government. As we reveal tonight's winning initiative, let us not see them only as extraordinary examples, but as aspirational models for standard practice as we move into the next decade. And now, it is my great honors to announce the 2020 awardees for Gender Inclusive Workplace. The second runner-up is Unilever Vietnam. Unilever Vietnam adopted gender-inclusive workplace, including equal recruitment, flexible work arrangement, actions to guarantee the safety and well-being of female and male employees, and promotion of women's career development and leadership. Design an unbiased recruitment process and proactively balance the ratio of men and women in departments. Develop a gender equitable social security policy and working conditions such as gender inclusive restroom, arranging lactation room for women, young mothers association, flexible working environment including work from home and paternity leave. Break the glass ceiling for women at all management levels across the department. Chairwoman, 2 female vice president, female channel and category development director, female supplier chain planning director, etc. And now, the first runner-up is Deloitte Malaysia. Deloitte wins for their global all-in initiative to accelerate gender and inclusion, seeking to systematically address low numbers of women progressing into leadership role. They took steps to rule out bias in evaluation, promotion, readiness, and regularly feature female role models in their communications to highlight the viability of a leadership career pathway. They also have mentoring programs available where aspiring women leaders are partnered with senior women partners. To build leadership readiness, the firm has Next Gen Leader, Women's Leading Edge, a 12-month mentoring program for new talent, and the Emerging Leaders Development Program, where future women partners are identified and groomed for success. Deloitte has also translated the global initiative to the local Malaysian context, taking targeted steps to empower female professionals in the traditional male-dominated tech field. And finally, the 2020 regional winners for gender inclusive workplace is IKEA India. One of the IKEA India's key commitment is to build and grow a gender balanced organization, 50-50 at all levels and in all functions. Currently, women represent 44% workforce, with 40% in managerial roles at IKEA. The company has worked towards gender equality across all levels in its organizations. Since 2014, IKEA has worked with a multidimensional approach to have an equal platform for recruitment, addressing women's health, emotional and financial wellness, to internal development, and culminating in commitment to have equal pay. Congratulations to all the awardees, and here on behalf of IKEA India to tell us more about their award-winning initiative is Ms. Parinita Lakra, Country People and Culture Manager.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by saying a thank you for this appreciation this award brings to IKEA India. IKEA India Retail is a humanistic, values-driven company, and we are committed to going all in on equality, recognizing that equality lies at the heart of human rights. Since 2014, one of the key commitments we've had is to work and build and grow an organization which is 50-50 gender balanced. We've worked with a multidimensional approach from recruitment to benefits to internal development, flexible working hours, safe workplace, and culminating to equal pay. We are very pleased to being very close to 50-50 women co-workers, 50% women managers, and 60% women in the country management team. Our gender pay gap today is less than 1%, and we aim to close this gender pay gap by end of 2021 and continue all actions to stay balanced. We are happy to be a signatory and collaborating with UN Women and WEP program to share and learn, which further anchors our commitment to continue our work towards becoming a gender balanced and equal play employer. On behalf of our CEO, Peter Betzel, and all co-workers from IKEA India, we share a big thank you for the recognition and humbly receive this acknowledgement. This gives us so much energy to keep going and strengthens our commitment towards equality, diversity, and inclusion. Thank you very much indeed.
Congratulations, IKEA India, Deloitte Malaysia, and Unilever Vietnam. And on to our next awards category, we have a very honored guest, Ms. Nguyen Thi Tuet Min, the chairwoman of the Vietnam Women Entrepreneur Council of the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She's also vice president of the Central Council of Vietnam Business Associations and the first chairwoman of the ASEAN Women Entrepreneurs Network. She also graciously served as a member of the Vietnam WEPs Awards National Judging Panel. A very warm welcome to you, Madam Min. You're going to be announcing the recipients in the Gender Responsive Marketplace category.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here in Vietnam to present the WEP Award for the Gender Responsive Marketplace. This category is strongly aligned to principle 5 of WEP, move deeper into value chain beyond the workplace, focus on entrepreneur development and inclusive supply chain. We also know that women entrepreneurs play very important role in each economy. However, many SME and women-owned enterprises are facing difficulty to access market, especially with the impacts of COVID-19. Through the web, UN Women is a training company to assess their procurement, practice, and development activity plan for the gender responsive procurement. This will create more opportunity for women entrepreneurs to join supply chain and access the market. Besides focusing on entrepreneurship, principle 5 of WEPs is also about the gender responsive marketing and advertising practice, encouraging companies to become aware of gender issue and gender equality by themselves and reject gender bias in their external and internal advertising and marketing practice. We are very proud to be very active to support women economic empowerment in ASEAN region as the founders of ASEAN Women Entrepreneur Network. The network organizes ASEAN Women CEOs Summit region year to provide platform to connect the UN women entrepreneurs to the other ecosystem players such as government, NGO, international organization, and partner. Thank you very much. And now it is a very great honor to announce the awardee for the gender responsive marketplace. The second runner-up is Great Women from the Philippines. And the second runner-up is Social Services India. And finally, the winner is Unilever Thailand.
Now the judges gave top marks for the progressive hair talk advertisement and campaign which was led by Unilever's Sunsilk hair care brand. The advertisement raised awareness of the barriers and discrimination that trans women face every day in Thailand. Reaching 65 million views online, Hair Talk also sparked nationwide discussions about challenging gender norms and even encouraged some of their peer brands to increase representation of transgender people in their content. To accept this speech, we have a very special message from Mr. Robert Candolino, CEO of Unilever Thailand.
Hello everyone, Sawadee krap. I just simply wanted to say a very, very big thank you to everyone who has voted for Unilever to be the winner and the recipient in the marketplace category for the UN Women WEPs. It is of course a great honor, and we're incredibly proud to receive this recognition both locally and in the regional categories for this. And I'm delighted that you have with you today Kun Yosiut, Kun Nusra, and Kun Nook, who will be there to accept the award on behalf of the 4,000 wonderful direct employees of Unilever and the 25,000 people that we take responsibility for in our extended network. You'll be delighted to know that across that network we are gender balanced. In fact, most of our managers are women, slightly more women managers than men, and we pay these women slightly more than we pay men on average. And of course, we have long been champions and advocates for gender equality in all of our operations. We are committed indeed to unstereotyping all of our advertising, and we will continue to be passionate advocates for helping society realize that the greatest benefit, the single greatest catalyst to societal and economic benefits is giving women and men an equal seat at every table. We're very proud of this recognition, but we're only just getting started. We hope to continue to work with the UN Women and any like-minded organization that wants to continue to advance the roles of women in society. Thank you everybody, enjoy the day.
Congratulations to the winners of the Gender Responsive Marketplace category second runner-up. Great Women from the Philippines, first runner-up, Sodexo Services in India, and of course the winner was Unilever Thailand. And now, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we move down the value chain of the WEPs, we come to the Community and Industry Engagement category. To present the award for this category, we are delighted to welcome Ms. Risha Singh, Research and Policy Lead for Oxfam in Asia, a member of our regional judging panel and a long-standing collaborator and advocate of UN Women. Now, a strong feminist who has worked with several national and international agencies, her current work focuses on addressing women's unpaid and underpaid work in Asia through a multi-stakeholder regional alliance and providing technical support in addressing gender inequality and justice. Please welcome Ms. Risha Singh.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. On behalf of Oxfam, I would like to express my deep appreciation, and it's been a great pleasure, both as a collaborator of UN Women, with UN Women to address and promote women's equality in the region, as well as member of the judging panel. This has been a great pleasure. We have seen many participants speak, and we've seen the entire gamut of the value chain from leadership to workplace to marketplace. And this, at the core of this is women's economic, the WEP's sixth principle, which is about promoting women's equality through community initiatives. At one level, this requires that CSR initiatives address women's equality within the organization. It also calls upon businesses and organizations to forge alliances and forge partnerships with NGOs, community leaders, and a wide range of stakeholders. And this is really the key, to have an ecosystem approach where different stakeholders are involved if we have to really address the big gap in women's equality. We have heard from different, some of the ecosystem players I would like to mention Avin, which brings the whole perspective of entrepreneurship networks. We've also heard from regulators like the Bursa Malaysia. We've also had the Vietnam Chambers of Commerce and Industry bring in the voice of government, which I think plays a very important role in bringing about a systemic change. At the same time, it's also important to recognize and address the fact that a number of women lose out on opportunities or are unable to sustain their work life because of unpaid care work and the disproportionate burden of unpaid care work that they carry. The pandemic, as we know, has exacerbated this situation. So we call upon government, the businesses, and the various civil society organizations to really join hands, as we have done with UN Women and Amnesty, to address the care emergency that we are facing now. It's also important to not just stick to like-minded alliances, but really to bring in a diverse network, as we in Oxfam have been doing, reaching out to private sector, reaching out to governments. UN Women has also formed a very important Unstereotype Alliance, which provides platform for companies in a creative way to come together and address the whole issue of gender equality. We've also seen from the various awardees, and there's a lot of learning there, that how if businesses really take the initiative, they open up a huge possibility of bringing about change and a positive systemic change at a wide scale. And with this, I would like to come to the awardees in the community and industry engagement section. And it is my great honor to announce the 2020 awardees for community and industry engagement. The second runners-up is Gojek. Gojek from Indonesia. Through the Women Are Safe with Gojek initiative, Gojek demonstrates transformational action towards ensuring safe mobility and access to public spaces for women. Gojek identified a lack of spaces for women in public space in Jakarta as a key issue inhibiting women's equal access to economic opportunities, education, and services. To combat this, the company developed a comprehensive campaign that utilized visuals, technology tools, outreach, training of their staff, physical responses, and business products adapted to women clientele. The first runner-up is NatWest India. NatWest wins for their work through NatWest India Foundation Supporting Enterprise Program, which works extensively for the upliftment of women and their families in rural areas. The program has supported over 2,321 women's self-help groups that are serving across 938 villages and supported over 20,000 women-led enterprises. This has improved the lives of rural women across 8 states of India. Through self-help groups, rural women have successfully led various village-level enterprises such as dairy business, agribusiness, spices and honey production, and microfinance for the financial and social inclusion. And finally, the winner for the 2020 WEPs Award for Community and Industry Engagement goes to Coca-Cola Far East Limited Philippines. With Coca-Cola's program 5 by 20, a global commitment to enable economic empowerment of 5 million women across the company's value chain by 2020. In the Philippines, the program targets women who operate sari stores, micro-enterprise neighborhood convenience stores. The Sari Store Training and Access to Resources Program, which is the STAR program, has reached over 200,000 women as of March 2020 through provision of entrepreneurship and financial literacy training, as well as access to additional capital. And with this, I pass the floor to Ms. Joanna D. Lumen-Pernia, the Director, Public Affairs and Sustainability of Coca-Cola.
Good evening to all. What an inspiring event and what an honor for us to receive this award. Women empowerment is a key sustainability pillar of Coca-Cola and has been a focus area since we appointed our first female board director in 1934. Our aspiration is to mirror the diversity of the communities we serve and for the company to be 50% led by women globally. In the Philippines, Coca-Cola is the first multinational company to sign the Women's Empowerment Principles. We signed the WEPs not just because of its social good, but because it makes business sense to empower women on all levels and on all fronts. And this is what this award is all about. We believe that gender equality needs to go beyond our offices and out to the micro retailers we serve, especially since 90% of these stores or sari stores are managed by women. We are proud to share that our 10-year program has economically empowered over 250,000 women entrepreneurs. This is through training, mentoring, and access to financial resources, done in partnership with government, NGOs, and other companies. We are inspired by these women who have gained more confidence, more competence, and resulted to more income that we know they will happily invest back to their families. We dedicate this win to them, our dear nanays, especially as they strive to bounce back during this challenging time. Thank you, UN Women and the We Empower Asia initiative for recognizing our efforts. It inspires us to do more and to rally more towards a gender-inclusive world. Thank you and maraming salamat po.
Congratulations, Coca-Cola Far East Limited, Philippines, NatWest India, and Gojek. And thank you as well to the lovely Ms. Risha for introducing the winners. And now, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our very final category for this prestigious awards. It is for COVID-19 action. Now, unfortunately, I've just been informed that our presenter can no longer join us. She's working hard out in the field at the moment and the connection is not so stable. So bear with me if I may deliver the awards on her behalf. So the final awards for today is for COVID-19 action, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We could not hold the awards this year without acknowledging the devastating impacts felt around the world from COVID-19. Now, these impacts are borne disproportionately by women as the crisis has intensified long-standing gender inequalities, such as women's concentration in lower paying and less secure jobs, women entrepreneurs' lower cash reserves, as well as difficulty accessing credit, domestic violence, and the unequal burden of unpaid care and domestic work. To take one example, in UN Women's rapid assessments of women entrepreneurs around the region, 50% reported spending less time on their business due to increased caregiving responsibilities as a result of COVID-19. Now, while this category may not seem directly linked to the WEPs, the issues surfaced by the pandemic are cross-cutting and actually demonstrate the urgency of even more companies to make a commitment to the WEPs. In UN Women's Private Sector Pulse Check report, we did see companies taking steps that benefit women employees, but we also saw that many did not consider the impacts on their female employees when designing response strategies, and many even felt that there were no differentiated impacts to male and female employees. The good news is that we have seen hundreds of companies around the region become WEP signatories since the crisis began. But this is just the first step. To truly build back better, companies must consciously integrate a gender lens into their response strategies and take actions that recognize the specific needs of women. And with that, it is my great honor to announce the 2020 awardees for COVID-19 action. The second runner-up is Agria, Agricultural Systems International from the Philippines. A big round of applause, please. And now the first runner-up. This award for COVID-19 action, first runner-up goes to 247.ai from India. And now the winner for COVID-19 action. Congratulations to Cash Foundation from Pakistan. Pakistani microfinance institution, the Cash Foundation, wins for their initiative, Don't Let Corona Impact Your Business, an economic rehabilitation program launched in response to the pandemic that works to ensure women micro-entrepreneurs have access to the necessary financial and non-financial products and services to help them rebuild their businesses. So congratulations to all the winners, especially to Cash Foundation from Pakistan. And to accept this award, please welcome Ms. Roshane Zafar, founder and managing director of the Cash Foundation.
It is such a pleasure to accept this award on behalf of the women entrepreneurs that Cash supports across Pakistan. We all know that COVID-19 has the potential for being a gender equality disaster, but it's up to us how we respond to it. As we have seen, the COVID has affected women more inequitably, especially in terms of the fact that women face a greater gender disparity in wage. They face lower paid jobs. Not only that, they lack social security networks. Cash has been working with women entrepreneurs across Pakistan, not just in terms of providing them financial services, but also ensuring that we work on the mindset that holds them back. We are extremely appreciative of the work that UN Women is doing in Pakistan. And together with UN Women, we have come up with an innovative way of promoting gender equality across the country by developing a television serial that talks about promoting women's economic empowerment. That being said, we worked very diligently to see how we could address the challenges that our women entrepreneurs face post-COVID. And one of the first things we did was, as shared, setting up a program which stated, not letting a corona happen to my business, where we worked with women to help them access technology. So where there are a lot of dark clouds on the horizon, there is also silver lining through technology, because it is helping women retail their products online through social media, WhatsApp, or other platforms. We are extremely grateful for this recognition today. And I would like to end in the words of Maya Angelou. It's easier to make a living than it is to make a life. So let's work together to change lives and transform the gender inequality we see globally. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to the recipients. Incredible examples of recognizing and addressing the disproportionate impacts of COVID-19 on women in the Asia-Pacific region. It is thanks to you and other companies we have recognized today that we can truly build back better. And as we come to the close of the evening, I'd like to invite Ms. Katia Frywald to deliver a few final reflections, please. So inviting back on stage UN Women Regional Program Manager, WeEmpowerAsia.
I promise it's going to be the last time. And I just want to say, before I really want to give a little bit of perspective for next year's, I think I really want to give a
very special award, which we don't have, and there's no presenter for that. But I really want to give a special award to my team tonight, and also to the team that has been here to really organizing this, what I find a very fantastic hybrid event. So a huge thank you to all of you, and to all of you on the virtual audience as well. Just having said this, I really hope that we could inspire and will inspire through this and through your communications, etc., more companies to really take this very conscious step and committing to the WEPs and joining us on the journey to implementing them. And I really hope that next year we will see you all back here together. And I think we're going to set a target on a bigger number of applications. And as we said before, we're going to hit the 1,000 mark of companies committing and taking action next year. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great rest of the evening, great rest of the day, wherever you are and joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we are going to wrap up in style here. We do have a final closing performance. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for being with us until the very end. And let's give a big round of applause welcoming the final closing performance. distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the final closing performance, wrapping up the UN Women 2020 Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. Once again, let me say a final congratulations to all our awardees. Thank you once again to all our applicants, and of course, sincere thanks to our kind audience here staying until the very end. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the regional ceremony. And before you go, if we could kindly ask for you to take a few minutes to fill out a quick survey about the event tonight. And those of you joining us on Zoom or on Facebook, we'll send you a link after the webinar ends. And if you're joining us in Bangkok or watching on Facebook, simply just scan the QR code that's up on the screen here, and that should take you right there. Now, with that, the 2020 UN Women Asia Pacific WEPs Awards officially comes to a close. We wish everyone a safe and a happy new year, a better and brighter new year 2021. And we do invite you to stay tuned for the launch of the 2021 UN Women Asia Pacific WEPs Awards. Thank you all very much. We look forward to seeing you next year. My name is Pachori Raksa Wong. It has been an absolute pleasure and an honor. Sawadee ka. Just another announcement here. We do have these celebrations in that gala dinner.